Right then, here we go. Wednesday the 16th of July, and I am buzzing. You can probably hear it in my voice. This is me excited, believe it or not, and for good reason. First off, the boys are back in action tonight. Celtic playing again. And no, it's not one of those behind closed doors training matches that feel more like glorified warm-ups than actual football. This is a proper game with a proper opponent in front of real fans. A real test for the squad. You know that feeling when the ball gets rolling again, and it's not just speculation or transfer talk or fitness updates. It's an actual match to look forward to. That's what we got tonight. And the buzz around it is made even better by the fact that we've got a brand new striker coming in, a fresh face up front, a bit of breaking news that dropped straight from Japan while most folk were still in their beds. So here's what's going on. The name on everyone's lips is Shin Yamada. That's the headline. Celtic are bringing in Yamada. And while the club haven't made anything official just yet, all signs point to this being a done deal. It all started with a statement from his club Kawasaki Frontale in Japan. Now, if you've seen the announcement, you probably noticed they refer to him as Arata Yamada. But that's most likely just a wee translation hiccup. We're definitely talking about Shin Yamada here, not some other player. The club said he'd be leaving the team following today's activities, which of course is the 16th of July, to sort out procedures for a move abroad. That's their words. No club name mentioned, but come on, we all know who they're talking about. It's Celtic. We've been tracking this for a while, and now it looks like it's really happening. After today's Emperor's Cup match against SC Sagamihara, the plan is for Yamada to speak directly to the supporters. It's actually quite common in Japan. Players moving abroad are often given the chance to say a proper farewell in front of the fans. We saw it not long ago with Hayato Ando and Albirex Niigata. And of course, many of you will remember when Kyogo made his big move to Celtic. Similar scenes. Emotional goodbyes, classy send-offs. That's just how it's done over there. It might seem a bit strange to us, but it's respectful and rooted in tradition. Now, as I said, Celtic weren't mentioned directly in the official statement, but it's all but confirmed that we're the destination. One of the Japanese sports outlets, Spanichi, even reported that Yamada was set to head to South Korea for a medical. That raised a few eyebrows. South Korea could be a translation mix-up again. Or maybe the medical team he's using is based there. Who knows? But the important part is that once that's done, he's expected to make the trip to Scotland, get the paperwork sorted, and put pen to paper with us. Maybe not today or tomorrow, but very soon. Interestingly, there's no confirmation if Yamada will actually play tonight in that Emperor's Cup match. Common sense says no. You don't risk a player who's about to be transferred. You don't want an injury to scupper the deal. That said, he'll still be at the game and likely say his piece after the final whistle. And let's be honest, it'd be a bit mad if he stepped on the pitch one last time, pulled up with a hamstring, and the whole thing fell apart. He's just returned from international duty as well. Japan were involved in the East Asian Championship. That's the E1 competition, but Yamada didn't get much of a run out. In fact, he only played in one of the matches coming off the bench in the second half against Hong Kong when Japan were already 5 goals to the good. So yeah, he wasn't a key figure in that squad. But before we start reading too much into that, let's remember how Japan handled their national team selections. Kyogo Reo Hatare, even Daisen Maeda. None of them are guaranteed starters despite their quality. It's just how their manager works. So the fact Yamada wasn't starting every game doesn't mean he's not good enough. Far from it. But let's talk a bit about how the fans in Japan are reacting to this move. I went and had a look through Japanese Twitter, or X as it's now called. Kawasaki Frontale posted the official farewell announcement there as well. And scrolling through the replies was, well, it was a mixed bag. Some supporters were sad, others were pretty neutral, and a few were even questioning whether letting him go was the right decision. One tweet said something like, if you're going to Celtic, I'd rather you just stayed with Kawasaki. Another said, thank you for the transfer fee, but I think Frontale are still the better club. A bit of a cheeky one, that. And yeah, there were a few fans asking Yamada to play one last time and leave with a bang, but let's be real, that's not going to happen. We've seen it before. Player tries to get through one last game and ends up crocked. No thank you. What stood out though was the general tone. Nobody seemed absolutely devastated by the news. That tells you something. Yamada hasn't exactly been lighting it up this season. Last year, he was flying. But this campaign, not so much. His goal tally has taken a hit, and that probably explains why there is a mass outrage over him leaving. Doesn't mean he's not talented, just means he's maybe not been at his best recently. And listen, players have dips in form. It happens. I've been doing a bit of digging on Yamada myself, watching clips, reading up on scouting reports, speaking to folk who know the J League well. And there are some exciting traits there. The most obvious comparison, and I'm not just saying this because of the connection, is Kyogo Furuhashi. Seriously, their movement is very alike. Yamada's always on the last man, hovering right on the edge of the offside trap, constantly making those runs in behind. He's got a knack for timing it just right. Now he's not quite as rapid as Kyogo. That blistering pace Kyogo had, Yamada's a step below that. But his acceleration's still sharp, and his awareness is spot on. He knows how to exploit space. When he breaks free and gets on the end of a well-timed pass, he usually takes his chances. That's the kind of striker he is. A proper poacher, someone who lives off those runs and knows how to finish. But that also raises a weak question. How does that style fit under Brendan Rodgers? Remember, Kyogo struggled a bit under Rodgers last season. He wasn't used the same way and didn't get the same kind of service. That's something to keep in mind. But at the same time, I think folk exaggerated that issue a bit. I came across highlights from that Young Boys Champions League match, Kyogo's final game for us. He had 3 disallowed goals in the first half alone. 2 for offside and 1 for a foul in the build-up. He was still a constant threat, so yeah, that kind of striker can work under Rodgers if used properly. And there's more to Yamada than just running in behind. From what I've seen, his link-up play is a bit tidier than Kyogo's. He's decent at dropping into pockets, laying the ball off, combining with midfielders. Don't get me wrong, he's not going to pull out an Odson Edouard masterclass. But he's neat and efficient. He does the basics well. He's not particularly tall, but he's built solid. Low center of gravity, strong in the challenge. Think Scott McDonald back in the day. Not towering, but sturdy and hard to knock off the ball. Yamada's got a bit of that about him. He knows how to use his body to protect possession, create space, and hold off defenders. What really caught my eye, though, is how good he is in the air for someone his size. Apparently, around 40% of his goals last season were headers. That tells you his movement inside the box is elite. He finds space in crowded areas, makes clever runs, and attacks the ball well. A proper penalty box predator. He's the kind of guy who'll bundle one in from 2 yards, poke home a rebound nod, one past the keeper from a tight angle, scrappy goals, instinctive finishes, the kind of goals that win you games when nothing else is working. And I'll admit something, I was a bit unsure about this signing at first. A week ago, I wasn't convinced. But the more I watch him, the more I like what I see. I think he could end up being a really clever addition. He's not Kyogo at his peak. Let's not pretend he is. Kyogo was arguably the best striker in the J1 league when we signed him. Yamada's not at that level right now, but stylistically there are so many similarities. And if we can get him back to the form he showed last year when he scored 19 goals in a single season, then we've got a serious player on our hands. That's the big mystery though, isn't it? Last year he was banging them in. A goal every 106 minutes. This season he scored just twice. That's 1 goal every 543 minutes. A massive drop-off. What happened? Was it confidence, a change in system, injuries? It's hard to say, but Celtic are clearly betting on the idea that they can help him rediscover that old form. And if they manage it, then we've signed one of the most clinical strikers in the J1 league. But here's the wider question. What does this tell us about Celtic's recruitment strategy? Because it's not just Yamada coming in. We've now brought in 2 players from Japan in this window alone, and that's notable because under Brendan Rodgers' previous 4 windows in charge, we didn't sign a single Japanese player, not one. We weren't even seriously linked with any, so something's shifted. You don't need to be a genius to see it. Maybe it's the club asserting more control over transfers, moving toward a recruitment model that doesn't rely as heavily on the manager, or maybe they're planning long-term looking beyond Rodgers. That's not to say he's on his way out. Far from it. But it does raise some interesting possibilities, and it'll be very telling how Rodgers talks about Yamada once the signing is official. Will he call him another developmental player like he did with Hayato Ando? Or will he say Yamada's ready to make an impact straight away? Personally, I think he's being brought in to contribute now. But I wouldn't be shocked if Rodgers plays it cool. In the press says something like, we'll see how he adapts, or he's one for the future. You know how these things go. All right, picking up from where we left off, there's another storyline bubbling away in the background that ties in nicely with the overall shape of Celtic's season. And that's the new player development system that's been rolled out across Scottish football. The SPFL and SFA have introduced this cooperation initiative to help young talent make the step from academy football to the professional level, especially those aged between 16 and 21. Basically, it allows clubs to form an official partnership with one lower league side per division, so young players can be sent on loan but still move back and forth as needed throughout the season. Think of it as a kind of flexible loan, not the old rigid type where a player is stuck at one club for 6 months, whether he plays or not. This is more fluid. And in Celtic's case, the early expectation was that we'd link up with Queen's Park. That seemed logical. Geographical proximity, some past dealings, decent facilities. But things change quickly in football, and apparently Queen's Park are having to cut back financially, which has taken them out of the picture. So now it looks like we're heading into a cooperation deal with Ayr United. Not too surprising either, given the connection with Scott Brown now in charge there. That could be massive for us and for the kids. A manager who knows what Celtic's all about, knows what it takes to play here, and can help guide young players with a proper standard of coaching and expectations. The name being floated as the first player to take advantage of this setup is Jude Bonner. He's highly thought of at Celtic, and this could be the perfect stepping stone for him. And he probably won't be the only one. There's talk of Sean, McGarvey, Kyle Ure, maybe even Kobe Donovan getting involved. That kind of system means these lads can go and get real game time in competitive matches, come back for a UEFA Youth League night, or even a Senior Cup tie if the opportunity presents itself, and then return to Ayr with that extra edge. You can imagine the benefit for everyone involved. The players get development, Ayr United get quality additions, and Celtic build experience into our next generation. I'm curious to see how this all pans out in practice. Does it genuinely help bridge the gap between youth and senior football, or is it just another well-meaning idea that fizzles out over time? Either way, fair play to the SFA and SPFL for giving it a go. Clubs like Aberdeen have already got something going with Elgin City. Rangers and Hearts are in on it too. So Celtic joining the party makes sense. And if you're looking for a wee second team to follow this year, maybe give Ayr a watch. You might just catch a few Celtic starlets cutting their teeth under the guidance of Scott Brown. Now moving on to the match tonight, because yes, we do have an actual game to enjoy, and it's a proper one. We're up against Sporting CP, the reigning Portuguese champions over at their Estádio Algarve. Kickoff is set for 7:30, both in Portugal and back home. The good news is that it's being shown live on Celtic TV, so there's no mystery about how to catch it. But beyond the broadcast, this game really does feel like a proper step up in terms of preseason intensity. Sporting are a quality outfit. Even if this is only their second preseason match, they drew their opener against Nice at the weekend. They're still full of talent, technical ability, and tactical discipline. They'll be a strong test even if they're not quite at full speed yet. For Celtic, it's a great opportunity to see how our players handle a higher level of opposition, especially some of the newer faces or those returning from injury. Speaking of which, we've got a few bits of team news. Cameron Carter-Vickers is back in training. That's a huge boost. We won't see him tonight, but it's brilliant to know he's back on the pitch, working his way to full fitness. If all goes well, we might see him get minutes against Newcastle on Saturday. If not, it'll be the Kilmarnock Cup tie next midweek. Either way, the target is clear. Have him ready for that first competitive game against St. Mirren. But more than that, have him ready for the Champions League qualifiers. You want to feel confident going into those matches, and nothing lifts the defense more than having Carter-Vickers at the heart of it. Another face we will see tonight is Kasper Schmeichel. A big opportunity for him to show what he's about. He brings experience, leadership, and let's be honest, a bit of star power. This match is tailor-made for someone like him to take control from the back and help organize a team that's still finding rhythm in preseason. Against a side like Sporting, you're going to need that voice at the back. Someone who can keep everyone switched on. And while we're on the subject of rhythm, let's not forget that for a lot of our players, this is still only their second or third preseason appearance. The likes of Dyson, Maida Rayo Hatate, Kieran Tierney, these guys are just getting their legs going. It's early doors, so don't expect 90 minutes of sharpness and intensity. We'll likely see 2 different 11s, one for each half. That's how these games go. But what we do want to see is players showing intent, understanding, chemistry, a few combinations, clicking some movement in an attack the defense hold in shape. All that stuff that builds up towards match sharpness. And here's the thing, Celtic tend to raise their game against better opponents. It's just part of the club's DNA. When the stakes rise or the quality increases, so does our level. So while this is technically a friendly, I think we'll see some real effort and commitment tonight. Brendan Rodgers will want to learn things. Who's ready to start the season? Who's lagging behind? Who's stepping up in the absence of a few? Regulars, it'll also be intriguing to see how Rodgers sets up tactically. Does he go with a traditional 4-3-3? Or will we see a bit of tinkering, a midfield diamond perhaps to get more control? Will the fullbacks invert like they did under Ange? Or will we stick with natural width? These are all little details that'll give us insight into how Rodgers plans to play this season. And with the signing of someone like Yamada on the horizon, that conversation becomes even more layered. Does he fit the system? Will Rodgers adjust to get the best out of him? Or will Yamada need to adapt? There's always that balance to strike with new signings. And let's be honest, Japanese players have done well for Celtic. Kyogo Hatate, Maeda Ideguchi, and Glimpses, they've all shown they can adapt, they can compete, and they can deliver in big moments. The track record is there. So there's a bit of trust in this pathway now. The fans have seen the results. There's no skepticism anymore. If Celtic sign a Japanese player, people assume he's going to be technically good, tactically aware, and mentally strong. And from what we've heard and seen of Yamada, he ticks a lot of those boxes. Of course, there'll be questions about how quickly he settles. Does he hit the ground running like Kyogo did, or does he need a bit more time? Like Hatati, every player is different. But what's important is that the club clearly believes in his quality. They've made the move. They're investing in a player who, even in a difficult season, has shown he knows where the goal is. And if we can get him back to last season's levels when he was one of the most prolific scorers in Japan, then we've done some very smart business. But bigger picture, tonight's match is a reminder that preseason is more than just fitness. It's about building momentum, building understanding, setting the tone. And with the Champions League looming, Celtic need to be sharp organized and ready to face top-level opponents. Games like this against Sporting CP are exactly what we need to bridge the gap between training sessions and the real thing. So sit back, enjoy the match, and keep an eye on the little details. Who links well with whom? Who's shouting leading? Directing traffic, who's playing with confidence, and who's still finding their feet. It's all part of the journey. And as we count down the days to the official confirmation of Shin Yamada, one thing feels clear. The season is coming into focus. The squad's shaping up, the pieces are coming together, and the big nights are just around the corner. Let's see who grabs their chance tonight. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. In what could be one of the most intriguing moves of the summer, whispers from Celtic Park suggest the Hoops may have pulled off a quiet masterstroke with the shock signing of BOJAN Miovski. While the club remains tight-lipped and the official confirmation is scarce, murmurs have begun swirling through Glasgow's East End that the North Macedonian striker is set to don the green and white. Miovski, who made his name at Aberdeen with a string of clinical finishes and a knack for popping, up in the right place at the right time, has been one of the most consistent forwards in the Premiership outside the old firm. His potential move to Celtic wasn't exactly making headlines over the past few weeks, but according to sources close to the deal, it's been brewing quietly. Behind the scenes, there's talk that Brendan Rodgers has been an admirer of the 25-year-old's intelligent movement and finishing touch for quite some time now. It's believed the Celtic boss sees Miovski as someone who can slot into the system with ease, a forward capable of both leading the line and linking play, not unlike some of the club's more recent attacking stars. Fans will remember how Celtic's recruitment has often relied on a blend of under-the-radar scouting and sudden swoops. And this one fits the bill. While no fee has been publicly disclosed, it's rumored the deal could be in the region of $4 million, a figure that reflects the club's faith in Miovski's ability to step up to the demands of Parkhead. There's a buzz around Lennox Town already, with some suggesting Miovski could be unveiled in the coming days. But for now, it remains speculation, albeit increasingly credible. One thing's for sure, if this move comes to fruition, it sends a clear message that Celtic are serious about strengthening their attack as they prepare for another season of domestic dominance and a return to European competition. It might just be a rumor, but in Scottish football, these things have a way of becoming reality overnight. Watch this space. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.